Hi, this is Frank. Frank is a 400 years old coral who lives on the Great Barrier Reef. He is so old that he is surrounded by his grandkids. But what is a coral exactly? Corals like Frank are in a way an animal, a plant, and a rock at the same time. The individual animals who form a coral are very similar to a jellyfish. Just like a jellyfish, they have stinging tentacles that they use to catch their prey. The main difference between jellyfish and a coral is that a coral can produce a skeleton made up of a limestone, which is slowly laid layer upon layer over many years. But corals like Frank are more than this. In fact, they are solar-powered animals. Instead of photovoltaic panels like we use, corals have microscopic algae living inside their body, which harvested energy of the sun and produce food for the coral in form of sugar. In exchange, the coral gives a safe home and some key nutrients to its guests. These algae are what give color to the corals, and without algae, colors become transparent and appears white because it reveals its limestone skeleton. The relationship between coral and its algae is so important that without algae, coral reefs will simply not exist. So going back to Frank, that guy has same things. He was already a big coral when Captain James Cook has met this reef in the year 1770. In his 400 years of life, Frank saw the ocean change by the big, and not in a good way. Especially in this last century, Frank noticed that ocean getting warmer, dirtier, and more acidic. But Frank is big and tough. It dealt with it without major problems, but things started to get seriously dangerous in the year 1998 with the first event of mass coral bleaching on the Great Barrier Reef. Coral bleaching events are becoming more and more frequent as a result of warming ocean due to our greenhouse gas conditions. Warmer oceans combined with the El Niño events cause deadly spikes in temperature that exceeds the tolerance of corals. If it stays too hot for too long, corals get some sort of a heat stroke and expels the algae they are relying on for food and bleach. If it doesn't get any cooler quickly, corals literally starve to death. Frank survived the first two mass coral bleaching events where many other corals did not. And overall, the Great Barrier Reef was able to bounce back. However, in the year 2016, things gone to a lot worse. The spiking temperature caused by a strong El Niño was so extreme that it caused the whole northern section of the Great Barrier Reef to bleach, Frank included. Frank tried to fight back and resist, but it was just too hot, and Frank passed away. And now all is left of him is a white skeleton. The once thriving and incredibly coral reef became an evil landscape of death. Is there a future for Frank's grandkids? Will the Great Barrier Reef bounce back? Maybe. If we are lucky, it will. But scientists predicted if the trend of ocean warming continues, deadly spikes in temperature like the one who killed Frank will become the norm by the mid-century. The reef will simply have no time to recover. Can we do something about this? Yes, we can. We still have time to avoid the worst climate change scenario. All we need to do is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and everyone can do something. Making a difference is actually easier than you think.